Another one of the issues related to the early life of the Prophet ﷺ is that which is related, ikhwan, to the marriage of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Khadeedah bint Khuwaylid. Of course, from the affairs related to the early life of the Prophet ﷺ is the fact that he was married to Khadeedah bint Khuwaylid. And what you will almost always read is that the Prophet ﷺ was 25 when he married Khadeedah. She was attracted to him in that he was responsible for some of her trade, and she saw from him trustworthiness and uprightness and the fulfillment of trust and what have you. And so she was attracted by that, even though many of the notables of Quraysh had desired her and desired to marry her. She herself was attracted to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Messenger ﷺ married her, even though she was 40 years old. The Messenger ﷺ married her at the age of 25. Na'am, it is regularly mentioned. As far as the reality, ikhwan, then in terms of the age of Khadeedah, when the Prophet ﷺ married her, then nothing is established in that regard. There are three main positions, in fact 4. The first of them, which is possibly the most popular, was that she was 40 years old. And that is mentioned in a narration that is not established at all. Yani the narration that she was some 40 years old when the Prophet ﷺ married her. Similarly, from the ages that I mentioned concerning Khadeedah was that she was 35 years old when the Messenger ﷺ married her. That too is not established. Thirdly, that Khadeedah was 28 years old when the Messenger ﷺ married her, and that is regularly mentioned, and it is oftentimes mentioned in some of the books and some of the earlier books of Siyar, even though it too is not established. And then we have a mention of 25. But those first 3 ages, that is 40, 35, and 28, are 3 ages that are mentioned concerning the age of Khadeedah radiallahu anha when the Prophet ﷺ married her. As far as those 3 ages are concerned, then the scholars discuss the fact that those 3 ages are none of them established, but Al-Imam Ibn Ishaq, he mentioned the age of 28, and he debates that she was actually 28 when the affair took place, that is, when the Prophet ﷺ he married her. And from the A'imma are those who argue that that is the most correct, or that is the best of the statements. As we mentioned, none of them are authentic. And so in order to come to what appears to be most correct, the scholars strive and make ijtihad and look at the qara'in and the factors at what would indicate the age that she actually was when the Prophet ﷺ married her. And the age of 28 is a stronger position than the age of 40, and that is for numerous reasons that the people of knowledge mention. From those reasons is that what is oftentimes mentioned concerning her age when she passed away is that she was 65. When in actuality, from among the people of knowledge, from among the A'imma, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim and others, they discuss the age of Khadeedah radiallahu anha when she passed away, and the fact that she was in actuality closer to 50, or she hadn't reached 50 in what is most correct, when she passed away. And that would necessitate then, and part of the argument of those who hold that she was actually 28 and not 40 is that if we look at the average age that women reach menopause, then it is oftentimes before the age of 50 with many women. But the ages of 50 and thereabout is ordinarily the age of menopause. Now, and we don't have anything that establishes that Khadeedah radiallahu anha, she reached menopause before she passed away. But working with the average age, those are, that period or that time is the average age that women reach menopause. And that would necessitate, similarly, if we look at the narrations that mention that she passed away before she reached the age of 50, that would necessitate that the 6 children of the Prophet ﷺ, that he had all of them with Khadeedah, Kulthum, Fatima, Qasim, Ruqayya, other than Ibrahim, Abdullah. Ibrahim he had for Maria Qibtiyya. But the 6 children that he had, that they had those 6 children in a period of about 10 years. It is not impossible. It is not impossible. But if we're going to use the present factors to hold one position over another in terms of when they married, when we're looking at the fact that the age of 40 is not established, the age of 28 is not established, but it is better in terms of weakness, it is better than the narrations that mention 40, number one. And number two, in terms of the likelihood of what would have occurred, then the age of 28 is more likely for them to have the 6 children that they had. It is more likely that the age of 28 is most correct than the age of 40. And that those 6 children occurred between the ages of 28 to 50, which is more possible and more likely, since none of them are authentic, and that is more likely to have been the case than the age of 40. And thus, from Ahl al-Ilm, those who hold that actually she was 28, as we mentioned, none of them are established with anything authentic, but that which is more accurate is that she was 28 years old. And it is mentioned, Ikhwan, by one of the greatest of the scholars of Maghazi and Siyar, one of the greatest of the scholars that discuss the affair of Sirah and history and Tariq and the story of the Messenger of Allah, one of the earliest of the scholars, and that is Al-Imam Ibn Ishaq. And so he mentions that actually she was 28. That she was 28, and that is something similarly that is mentioned by Al-Imam Hakim in his Mustadrak. And so the issue is one that we mentioned because, again, it is something that you'll find in almost every book of Sirah, but nothing from it is established. But the age of 28 is more possible and viable than the age of 40.